On September 17th at 7:35 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have a lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces opposite to the sun in Virgo. This eclipse is going to lead us into the next 6 months of eclipses that will be on the Pisces-Virgo axis. In this video, I'm going to cover some of the chart specifics of this eclipse and give some ideas about how this can be impacting you personally and what you can do, what you can expect leading into the next 6 months, looking also back the previous 6 months when we were in Pisces season. So let's start off by first talking about what is a full moon. So as you know, we started Virgo new moon about 2 weeks ago when the sun and moon were together in the sign of Virgo. So what you want to do is look on your own chart and see what house Virgo is for you. In this video, I will cover all 12 signs, briefly giving some ideas and tips and ways to work with the full moon and give you some ideas about how this eclipse is going to be impacting you going into eclipse season of 2025. So the full moon is a culmination of something that was started 6 months prior. So for this eclipse in Pisces, we're going to be looking at 6 months prior at the Pisces new moon. So think back to Pisces season 2024. That's going to be the end of February into about the 20th area of March. So think back to what you were doing during that time, what was growing in your inner reality, because the moon cycle is more focused on your emotional set point, your emotional reality, your longing for life, things that are more hidden and subtle, which it's like water below the surface. The water below the surface of a lake, whatever's happening below the surface really impacts the totality of what that lake is. Our body water is similar. And so the moon cycle is governing the tides of our body water. Whatever's happening within that deeper layer of our body water or unconscious, some people call this the unconscious, that is going to flavor the rest of your life, the rest of reality for you, the way you're viewing the world, the way that you are believing the world to be. So for this Pisces full moon, there are some specific things. You're going to see my eyes looking over there because I have the chart of the full moon over here on my screen. So some of the things that I'm going to point out, this is going to be flavoring more of the specifics of the eclipse. This is that the moon is at 25 degrees of Pisces. So you're going to look on your chart around, I would say, between 23 and 27 degrees of Pisces. Look between there. See if you have any planets there. And if you don't, and if you don't know and you can't figure out what that, don't worry about it. If you do know, look and see what you have going on in your chart, and more specifically look at what house that is for you, because the house is the area of life in which the drama is unfolding. And I don't mean drama as in like you have drama, but the play of life. In Sanskrit, it's called Maya, this illusion that we are living some separation, some separated individual lives. So this eclipse drama is unfolding in that specific area of your life. So we'll get into that when we're going through the all 12 signs. Eclipses are harbingers of change. This is going to be a time of radically moving us out of things that are not for us and putting us on track to the things in life that are for us, something that has your name on it. As we go through life, oftentimes we get distracted by other things on the path. And I talk about this as if we go into a grocery store and we're there to get milk and honey. And when we get to the grocery store, we get distracted by all the other things that are there. It's so exciting, and we can sometimes forget what we came for. In life, also, we have some mission to come and do things, talk to people, do certain things in life, and we can get distracted by other stuff. So what eclipses for us psychologically, emotionally, puts us back in alignment with what we are doing. Your life purpose, you can call it destiny, your fate. But as we heard from Carl Jung, fate is what, how did he say this? Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So this goes back to the idea of what's below the surface of the water. What is below the surface of your body water? These are unconscious stirrings that end up directing our lives. And there is something that we came here, which is in our body, it's coded in our DNA. Our purpose is coded in our body water. And we're here to do that, to do those things. And sometimes there's cloudy codes, and it can become a thing where we are repetitively doing things that are in our code that are not actually this. I would speak about this as the South Node, which is a past karmic patterning, a code in us which is telling us on repeat to do something, which can turn to be a habit, pattern, or addiction. And then we have the North Node, which is also coded within us to do something which is opposite to the South Node. So at the time of the eclipses, we are literally working with the South and North Node. So we are working with our South codes of the past habits, patterns, karmic conditioning, and the North codes, which are more something that we don't know yet. It is the unknown, but it could be a little bit uncomfortable, and it can be directing us into a new path, which is for us. It is written for you specifically to do these other things, which are not the things you have been doing. So from that, we will look at where the moon is. This is going to be closer to the North Node. So we're looking at the Pisces full moon in that specific part in your chart, whatever house it is. This is the area of life where for the next 24 months, because this eclipse is leading us into more eclipses on the Pisces Virgo axis. This eclipse is showing us what is coming, what you're being asked to bend and stretch yourself into. So you already have Pisces on your chart. There's already a whole area of life that you are working with. And now there is advancement coming to that area. Wherever the North Node is, we are advancing and evolving, moving forward in a progressive manner. And then wherever the South Node is, we're tying something up. We're completing something. So looking at this chart, now you see, I'm just going to use what I'm looking at. So on this chart, the moon is in the 12th house. That means directly opposite of that is where the sun is. Opposite to the 12th is the 6th. So where the sun is nearer to the South Node. So this is saying that there's something from this Virgo area of your life of meticulous organization of large amounts of information. Virgo's ruling planet is Mercury. So this has to do with large amounts of data and information that we meticulously organize, Virgo. So the other specifics about this eclipse is that the moon at 25 degrees of Pisces is very close to Neptune, who is at 28 degrees of Pisces. So as the moon is becoming into fullness at 7:35 p.m., Neptune's influence is very, very strong. So what does Neptune do? Neptune adds in more of this, I'm going to say the word confusion, although confusion is part of the game of Neptune. The confusion is to get you out of the stuckness that we have to physical reality. We have very, because we're contracted into these bodies, into time, into gravity. We're contracted, held down here on Earth. And Neptune is meant to wash us around, to almost like being in a washing machine. You're getting tossed around, or being in the ocean and getting tossed around in the ocean. It jostles your way of thinking, which is up, which is down, which is left and right. When Neptune's involved, all of our directional grip on reality becomes unclear. In the unclarity, we are able to remember our timeless nature. And Pisces is all about our timeless nature. So this eclipse has that potential to really flood our minds with water. Encephalitis, this word comes up, being you're full of water in the brain, in the head, having fullness of water. So these water issues could come up collectively with things happening in the ocean, things related to too much water in areas, flooding possibly. In your own life, also looking at what house that is, there could be an influx of liquidity, fluidity, currency. Currency is related also with water and emotions. And because it's near the North Node, an influx of these things, an influx of water, currency, fluidity, also emotional currency. So really working with your emotional intelligence, learning to feel your energy, F-E-E-L, feel your energy, and allowing that to be a superpower instead of something that's able to be drained, able to be accessed by other people. And those Pisces mysteries of learning to really self-contain in this fluid, almost boundaryless way that Pisces does. Let's get into a little bit about the Piscean specifics. Pisces is the most misty, okay? So Pisces is water in the form of mist. It is the most expansive of the water signs and has to do with the mystical experience, our connection to the unseen realms. So we get into what are dreams? Where do I go when I'm dreaming? What are dreams? Like, how do we access all times and spaces through the dream time? And my theory is that it has something to do with the element of water, which is the beginning of all life, and it is what is, air, all the elements connect us. But water has this specific way of holding memories and holding an emotional currency. It has a lot to do with what we consider to be valuable in exchanging with each other through a soft glance or through some emotional feeling or sensation. It's our ability to be drawn into an emotionally captivating story or to draw others in through captivating stories. So water is our timeless nature. We get into spirits, to divinity, to ecstasy or ecstatic states, bringing us into divinity, also traumatic states, which also bring us into divinity as a way of taking us out of our limited construct of reality and pushing us into everywhere all at once. So, with all of that, let's go ahead and talk about Saturn's influence on this eclipse. So Saturn is here retrograde at 15 degrees of Pisces. So before the moon gets into alignment with the sun for the eclipse on the 17th of September, the moon and Saturn will make their conjunction, which is happening every single month. Moon and Saturn make their conjunction. While Saturn is in Pisces, all of these mystical, spiritual, psychic memories and ecstasy, emotional currency, fluidity, all of those things which are formless are being asked to be contracted into form. And this is a very immensely powerful process. If you look back into some of the astronomy of Saturn, every time Saturn is in Pisces, because now this is going to be every about 19 years, Saturn will be back in Pisces. And around that time, about every 19 years, the way Saturn looks through telescopes, the rings seem to be dissolving. So the rings of Saturn are said to be holding the boundary. Every 19 years, those rings seem to dissolve. So part of what I personally have been playing with as an astrologer, not an astronomer, I am not an astronomer, but I love to look at the night sky and incorporate some of the astronomical insights into my astrology. Something that I've been playing with is, what if, while Saturn is in Pisces, there is more of a dissolution of the boundaries. And we need the boundaries. We need that structure of something dense holding us in place, something that's grounding. But while Saturn is in Pisces, the influence of making structure and making form is slightly different, because Pisces is that invisible realm. And for me, what I have been working with is building my inner temples. So my sleep and dream temple, my ancestor temple, my temple of nature spirits, spirits of the land. So I'm developing like architecture and strengthening the foundations of my spirituality, which is these places that I go internally to do spiritual work. This is the way that I've been working with it, but it's also going to depend on what house you have Pisces in. And Saturn will be here only once every 19 years for about 2.5 years. So whatever is happening in that house of Pisces is getting this Saturn principle of becoming more concrete, making the timeless nature of Pisces become more solidified. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the all 12 signs portion of this. We are going to start off with Aries. Aries rising, and I've got my cards. This deck, which I will give a little bit of herbal wisdom for you during this portion. So starting with Aries rising, you are having the Pisces eclipse in your 12th house, which has to do with self-undoing, with your visions, your dreams. Self-undoing is when we are not doing our work of the 12th house things, which is tending to our spiritual life, your psychic abilities, your visions of reality, your dreams. It can become self-undoing if you don't pay enough attention to the spirit realm, or if you pay too much attention to the spirit realm and lose your grip on reality. Then it becomes self-undoing, which has to do with habits. A lot of times people will get into an artificial substitute for the spiritual realm, which is drugs and alcohol and other things that get you into ecstatic states by substance. Or sometimes it can be too much ecstasy in other things that bring that Piscean energy. So for Aries rising, this eclipse is going to be touching that part of your reality. And oh, what I get for you, strangely, is nettles. Nettles is rich in B vitamins. You can eat nettles. These are delicious and nutritious. I want you to see that snake on there. And looks like citrine crystals. And the planetary rulers we have is Mars and Pluto. So this is calling for action. My interpretation is that, like I mentioned, if you're not doing the spiritual work, it can become self-undoing. So for you, you're being asked to take action in those invisible realms. Do you have a dream temple that you go to when you sleep at night? Do you have an ancestral temple that you visit to connect with your ancestors? Now is the time for you to touch in with those things. For Taurus rising, you are having this eclipse in your 11th house, which has to do with goals, dreams, and aspirations. The 11th house is where we really get into sharing what we have learned. The 5th house, which is opposite to 11th, is creative self-expression, where it's all about you and you having fun and being in joy and exuberant radiance. The 11th house is how it's like diffusion into the community with the fullness of who you are at a creative level. So for this, in your 11th house, Pisces eclipse is really putting you in alignment with what it is you are really meant to be doing as your goals, dreams, and aspirations. What communities are you in? Who are you within those communities? And this eclipse is going to be showing you more of what is next for you on your journey. For the card I get for you is St. John's wort. This is a really beautiful plant that grows. I think of it as a solar plant. You can see it in summer with these beautiful golden blooms. And when you make oil out of it, the oil becomes like a Leo summer day. Very red, orangish red. And you can use it externally for muscle pains. It is a solar card. You can see the sun up there. This card is really asking you to be full of yourself and to show up as big as possible. You can see she's holding here a horn, making music. This is very 5th house, actually. So it's like, be your creative self-expression, 5th house, in the community. Really show who you are fully. So that is Taurus rising. Let's go on now to Gemini rising. This eclipse is happening in your 10th house of career, reputation, public image. And Gemini rising, having Pisces in that 10th house, you always have this sort of loving empathy for the whole, everybody is seeing you as somebody who probably knows a lot of information, probably knows a lot of people, and really listens and has empathy and compassion for many people. So for Gemini rising, this eclipse can really be changing your career path. And coming into 2025, that career path change could be leading to meeting new people, you showing up differently in your career. And the card I get for you is Reishi. This is a Jupiter and Sun card. Okay, so what I'm getting from this, it says retreat, and Pisces is naturally going to be about retreat. You can see the bear hibernating there, this looking like a kidney. So this is rejuvenating. Kidneys are rejuvenated while we sleep. So have you been feeling burnt out? This is a medicine that helps to rejuvenate the kidneys and really help you recover. So good for you, lucky time. You get to just chill out. One of the things that I really like to emphasize about the eclipses is that it's not really a time to do a ritual, set intentions, or anything like that. So for Gemini rising, this can be a really great time to just relax. and allow your body to heal. Trust that whatever is happening with this eclipse is moving your career into a new path. Your reputation could be changing for the better because it's near the North Node. So moving into Cancer rising, this eclipse is happening in your 9th house of higher education, philosophy for life, beliefs, spirituality, and the sun is in your 3rd house of communication, learning, and your local environment. So for this eclipse in your 9th house, there can be something changing for you, putting you on a new path of your spiritual beliefs, maybe a new course that you're going to be taking or some new education that you want to be moving into. For Cancer rising, you get ayahuasca, the mother vine. Have a peek at this card, and the word down there says rebirth. So for Cancer rising, this is a strong medicine. This is one of the master teachers, a very strong medicine. You're being asked as a Cancer rising with Pisces in your 9th house, getting this eclipse energy, to really allow nature to show the way and to allow the whole plant kingdom, because ayahuasca is the mother vine, mother of all, and very psychedelic experience of dissolving boundaries between things and showing you what you are, showing you what's coded in you and how you've been using your power, and giving you ideas about a new way of using your power. Cancer rising, so sentimental, such beautiful, caring people. And with Pisces in your 9th house, you are most likely to have a broad range of spiritual beliefs, life philosophies, and being very eager to learn new things. And this mother vine, ayahuasca, is showing you that it is time for a rebirth of your beliefs. Now we're going to look at Leo rising. Leo rising is having this lunar eclipse in their 8th house. 8th house has to do with your shared resources, death, intense emotional energy, transformation. So what is transformation? It's a regeneration of energy. So for Leo rising, this Pisces eclipse happening in that house of transformation, it's like this is the beginning of something bigger happening within that 8th house. So for all the signs, I may not have mentioned this enough, but this is a sneak preview into what is happening in 2025. And it's starting now. It's not like a sneak preview that you just get to watch. It's being set into motion now. So 8th house, this is a house that is oftentimes considered to be one of the more intense. It really brings us to our personal power, oftentimes through things being removed from our life that we might not necessarily want them to go. We get attached. In the 8th house, we're attached to people we love. And if they die or leave, it's very troubling and brings us a lot of times, in my own experience with 8th house matters, death really shows us what we really, really value and helps us to live life much more intentionally. So for you, the card that I get is poppy. This is a plant that is a main ingredient in my tea, Awake in the Dream, which is lucid dreaming tea. So poppy is well known for bringing lucidity to the dream time. And in a lot of the dream yoga from Tibet, we also have from Egyptian Book of the Dead, or which is called Coming Forth by Day, I believe it's called, the Book of Coming Forth by Night, Coming Forth by, maybe it's just the Book of Coming Forth. Can't remember the actual name, but Book of the Dead, we commonly know of it. They talk about going into dream time as a practice for going into the death portal. So you can see up here we have Neptune and Saturn. So again, that idea of making the unconscious terrain become more solidified. So getting to know your own inner temples of where do you go when you're dreaming, working with lucid dreaming for this next 6 months. I mean, for the entire, I would actually take that back, for the entire time that we're going through Pisces in the North Node. The North Node in Pisces, this is going to be in your 8th house. Working with your dreams is crucial. I would say critical for you. Good fortune and good blessings to you, because one of the other things about the 8th house is that you can throw out the trash and bring in more of the goods, which is personal power and wealth that is associated with legacy, inheritance, and it's like the gifts that your ancestors left you through your DNA. The things that are in you that are the most magnificent, wonderful things can come out now during this time for you. Now, moving into Virgo rising, you're having this eclipse in the 7th house. So your Virgo rising, the sun is currently in your 1st house, which is illuminating all of your health concerns, bringing you more radiance in your whole entire life, because the ascendant is really how you're steering the ship of your life. The full moon being in your 7th house is relationships. It has to do with partnerships, who you're sharing resources with. And the full moon really illuminating that for you is bringing more, it's like getting you in the right trajectory for making the most of your relationships. The card that I get for you, I love this. Skullcap is one of the main ingredients in my Nephthys tincture, which brings you to a deep sleep so that you can really work on healing your physical body and deeply connecting with the dream time. I love how so much of these cards that we're getting have to do with Piscean themes. This is Pluto and Saturn, the rulers of this card. Skullcap, while it is a nervine, it does really feels like this. It feels like your head just, well, it's more like putting a cap on your head that opens you up into the dream time. Very deep sleep with this. So this is calling for stillness. In that stillness, really, a lot of magical things happen when we're able to rest our body and still our mind. The real gifts of having the eclipse in your 7th house can be revealed to you through rest. Now, looking at Libra rising, you're having this eclipse in the 6th house of health, daily health routines, service. This is also the house of pets. And Libra rising. So this is saying that there is progressive movement here in your health routine. Maybe this is going to be a time for the next, let's just say I would say the next 24 months, that you're really changing a lot in a positive way your health routines. Maybe something is going to happen here which is going to help you clean your intestines, because this house is related to gut health. Something with your microbiome here, with your 6th house being impacted by Pisces. Remember, Pisces it's always in your 6th house, and Pisces is the boundarylessness. So what I'm seeing for you is this nice, like, flowering within the flora of your gut. So doing your health routines is really going to be important for you. And it's going to just be happening because that North Node is there. Oh, tobacco. This is saying to me to put your prayers out, because with the tobacco, what we do, we inhale, and when we're exhaling, we're letting our prayers go out into the ethers, connecting with Great Spirit and putting our prayers. When they say put it out there, tobacco is really reminding us that every time we exhale, our prayer is leaving and going out into the world to do its work. This is a Mars and Pluto card, Mars and Pluto. So tobacco is also, you can see it says offering. So how is your breath, your exhalation, your words, how are these an offering to others out into the world? And also what you're putting out there, to really be clear about that during this eclipse in Pisces and moving into the eclipse season for the next when the North Node moves into Pisces officially, which will really, really amplify this house for you. Okay, so moving on to Scorpio rising. If you have Scorpio rising, this eclipse is happening in your 5th house of creative self-expression, romance, gambling. 5th house is where we're more playful and flirtatious with life. This eclipse is getting you more into taking bigger risks, putting your heart really the courageous. And I got skullcap again for the 5th house, skullcap. Maybe this is asking for a little rest, dreaming more into what is possible for you. Because have you become a little bit, what's this word in the 5th house, where it's like you've had the same style for a very long time? The eclipses going through your 5th house are asking you to dream into new possibilities for what can be your creative self-expression. You can see this Scorpio here, which does have some connection with transformation. So let's move on to Sagittarius rising. You will have this eclipse in the 4th house, which is related to your womb, the wombs that you come from, your home of origin, the lands that you come from, the lands that your ancestors come from, your family, your home. This is a foundational piece in the 4th house. So this eclipse is bringing you more into what else is possible for you. And with Pisces, this eclipse, all of us are being asked to, as you can see, we're pulling so many of these dreamy cards, to connect in with the dream time and ask the questions of what else is possible. For Sagittarius rising, what else is possible for me in my home life? I have never pulled this card before. So for Sagittarius rising, just have a peek at this card and let me tell you what it is about by looking at the book, because I don't know this plant. This is a really beautiful card. Okay, so this card is about shape-shifting, the subconscious healing, synchronizing inner and outer worlds. So the inner world is Pisces, the outer world is run by Virgo and the sun. Pisces and the moon is going to be more of the subconscious healing, your inner world. And this is about shape-shifting, time traveling, transcendence of illusion. Is there something that you believe or that you're thinking, the ways that you're seeing the world that are ready to be spun around, like throw them in the ocean, let them spin and wave in and out and come back to you fresh? Let's read about this. The indigenous people of Southeast Asia valued the power of this rainforest tree for thousands of years. The guidance of this card. Like the dragonfly, this herb grants us the power to break through illusionary facade that we have accepted as reality, providing us the freedom from pain in order to break through limiting illusions. So this is really saying that it's a time for you to release anything. Well, you won't know what it is until you really question your beliefs. And related to 4th house topics of home and family. Capricorn rising, this eclipse is happening in your 3rd house of communication. And this is offering you an opportunity. Maybe you're learning something new. Maybe you're having a new perspective on communication in general. Maybe you're learning a new language and therefore learning new ways of perceiving concepts through that new language. Also, third house is your local environment. So it's like you might start, just try it out, shopping at a new grocery store, or going to different community events that you haven't gone to before, because Pisces eclipse and moving into the North Node going into Pisces is going to be pushing you in a progressive way into new areas within your perspective. So this is a perspective shift. The card that I get for you is Arnica. Many people know of Arnica as relieving bruises, to help get rid of bruises and to relieve joint pain. So we can see this elder woman here, the teacher, and she's there preparing things. You can see this wolf again with that breath, putting the prayers out into the world. This is a Saturn card. So you are being asked to take some new classes, learn about your local environment. What plants are there? You're a Capricorn rising. So learning about plants for a Capricorn rising is right up your alley, because plants are our oldest teachers. Moving on to Aquarius rising, you are having this eclipse in your second house of money, resources, values, security. So what makes you feel secure, Aquarius? Aquarius rising, what makes you feel secure? Is it having a nice home, good clothing, healthy food? Having Pisces in the second house, do you eat fish? Do you feel more comfortable with boundarylessness, fluidity in your home? Well, this eclipse is going to be asking you to bring more fluidity and open the boundaries a little bit to what you need for security. I love this card. I was working with this medicine last year. This is a really cleansing, transformative, it's like a preparation before you do master teacher plants, is what I find this to be very, very helpful for. This is a Pluto and Moon card, deep transformation. You can see this connection with the womb, and you can see the old version laying here and the new flowering version of you moving out into the world. And the key word is metamorphosis. So within your idea of what you need to feel secure, a lot of changes happening for you there, and wishing you all the best in that. Now, for Pisces rising, this eclipse is happening in your first house, the helmsman of the ship of your life. Pisces rising, you have Saturn going right through your first house, really helping you to solidify your self perspective, the self identity, your ego identity that you have as a Pisces, as a boundarylessness, fluid, emotionally fluent person, magical creation that you are as a Pisces rising. This next eclipse season, where we're going to have the North Node going through Pisces, you are really stepping into your magical power. Pisces is the most mystical of all the signs, like I started this video with, the most mystical of all the signs. Nothing is out of your reach. Nothing. And so with this eclipse and the North Node getting ready to move into your first house, you're really leading the way into what the darkness really means. What it is to be not winter and not spring. You're in between winter and spring, in between death and new birth. Winter being the death phase, spring being the new birth, and Pisces being the bridge between death and life. So I am really excited. I'm putting it all on you to bring through the psychic abilities to show the world what it really means to have a connection with that. Ooh, the card that I get for you is Valerian. This is another plant that's in my sleep remedy. Valerian root. I have it in I think that's in the Nephthys also. I have quite a few sleep remedies because I believe that everything that we need can be found in the dream time. For you, for this eclipse, and as the North Node moves into Pisces, I recommend working with this plant for really connecting to your subconscious, your not yet conscious reality. This is a Neptune card. You could see Neptune there. All right, so thank you so much for watching the video, and please feel free to click the links below. I'm offering eclipse readings so we can get into the specifics of your chart. They're at a discounted price right now, so thank you so much, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon.